Sergio Perez's recent indications that he's contemplating his future in Formula One suggest that the challenges of being Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull Racing have taken a toll on him. This has understandably become a hot topic in the community after long-standing discussions about how Verstappen was being shown preferential treatment over teammate Checo. So without further ado, let's discuss the reasons for this and take a look at what options he might be considering. Sergio Perez has recently opened up about his future at Red Bull Racing, and it's the first time we've heard him publicly express some uncertainty. He's dropping hints about what it's like to be Max Verstappen's teammate. Perez needs an environment where he can make a meaningful contribution, and he acknowledges that he will consider his options beyond 2024 if he feels Red Bull might not offer such an environment. This hints at the possibility that Perez realizes he may be nearing the end of his F1 journey. That's not to say that Perez is ruling out discussing 2025 and beyond, but he's also realistic about the possibility that his contract might not be renewed if he can't contribute at the level expected. It's a tough situation for any driver, especially when you're competing against someone as exceptional as Verstappen. Being Max Verstappen's teammate is no walk in the park. We've seen this before with Valtteri Bottas at Mercedes, who eventually had to accept that he couldn't consistently beat Lewis Hamilton over a season. Perez seems to be facing a similar reality at Red Bull. This reality becomes especially grim, keeping in mind the ongoing debate about whether the Red Bull car is tailored specifically for Verstappen's driving style. While Verstappen and Red Bull's Christian Horner dismiss this question, saying that they're simply building the fastest car they can. The reality is that Verstappen's unique talent allows him to excel in the car, especially when it comes to handling rear instability. This means Perez is dealing with a car that will never be perfectly suited to his preferences. As a result, he needs specific circumstances to challenge or potentially beat Verstappen, like we saw in Saudi Arabia and Azerbaijan this season. However, Verstappen keeps improving and addressing his weaknesses, making it increasingly challenging for Perez. He pinpointed how the car felt from the Spanish GP onwards as a key turning point in an interview with Fox Mexico. What happens once we got to Barcelona? I can't explain. What changed so much in the car in how you take the corners? Today, I have to drive the car in a very different way. A pivotal moment occurred during the Baku Grand Prix that may have shifted the balance further in Verstappen's favor. As Verstappen followed Perez, he started making adjustments to his car settings, experimenting with torque maps, braking techniques, and even cockpit adjustments. Although these changes helped Verstappen get a better feel for the car, they also created a balance problem due to increased front grip from the tires. More front grip from the tires, while beneficial in many situations, posed its own problems for Verstappen. But Max's ability to adapt and optimize his performance was evident, and it was a turning point in the season. After the victory at Zandvoort, Verstappen commented, "I learned a lot from the race in Baku, how to do some things with the car, how to set it up. I basically implemented that, and it has helped me on every track." It's essential to note that Perez is committed to staying with Red Bull for the upcoming season, aiming to continue winning races if possible. However, his aspirations of being a championship contender alongside Verstappen seem to have dwindled. Perhaps he is aware of the inevitable reality, since even the advantages Perez once had over Verstappen are diminishing. It's no surprise then that Perez is beginning to consider his exit strategy. Where could Perez go if he decides to part ways with Red Bull? While leaving the best team and car on the grid may seem foolish, Perez has other considerations. Family plays a significant role in his life, and the most competitive option for Perez might not be the best. It depends on whether his current struggles at Red Bull continue or if he can find comfort in the car. Checo remains hopeful about the future, expressing his desire for more years with Red Bull, as he said in an interview, "I have no doubt that I will finish my contract and that it won't be my last in Formula One either. I hope for more years here at Red Bull, that we have a year where I really feel we take a step forward and where both drivers can feel comfortable with the car." However, his motivations extend beyond Formula One, driven by his love for his family. In the past, Perez had contemplated leaving F1 to spend more time with his wife and kids when he was unexpectedly replaced at Racing Point, and he had previously mentioned that he wouldn't endure this grueling experience if he didn't believe he could win the championship. To quote what he had said back in 2020, "I've got my family, I want to see my kids growing, and so many other things. I can imagine a life without motorsport. So, what are Perez's options? F1 is currently in a healthy state with several competitive teams. The most appealing choices include Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin. McLaren, the upcoming Audi Works team, and Alpine could also be attractive options. The challenge for Perez is finding a team that wants him and offers a competitive package. Despite the challenges, Perez will have suitors. Teams like Williams, Haas, and Alfa Romeo might see value in his experience and quality. However, when considering Perez's desires and potential destinations, it becomes clear that his options are limited. This was the situation from Checo's end of the bargain. But now, let's also talk about potential replacements for Perez. If Red Bull decides not to renew his contract, or if Perez decides to move on, the team will need to find a suitable replacement. Daniel Ricciardo is an obvious choice from within the Red Bull family, but his recent challenges may affect his candidacy. Among Red Bull's junior drivers, Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson stand out. However, Tsunoda's affiliation with Honda raises questions about his long-term prospects with Red Bull, especially as the team transitions to a new engine supplier. Lawson, while promising, may not be ready for a full-time Red Bull racing seat just yet. Amidst this confusion, the name of Lando Norris stands out. His name has been frequently linked with Red Bull Racing recently. Norris is a highly rated driver, one of the best in F1, known for his speed and adaptability. He's also well acquainted with Verstappen, and this familiarity could work in his favor, making him one of the few drivers who could handle the pressure of partnering with Verstappen. Norris's existing contract with McLaren is a significant hurdle to overcome. McLaren insists that Norris's contract is solid, at least until the end of 2025, making it challenging for Red Bull to lure him away. Like Bottas, who accepted the reality of his situation at Mercedes but still wanted to remain in F1, Perez might seek opportunities that offer a good work-life balance. Whether he can find the right opportunity to continue in F1 or decides to call it a day entirely will depend on the options available to him. In conclusion, Sergio Perez's future at Red Bull Racing is uncertain, and the dynamics within the team are evolving rapidly. While Perez has been candid about his struggles, the search for a suitable replacement brings its own challenges. The potential arrival of Lando Norris could reshape the landscape at Red Bull, but navigating the contractual complexities won't be easy. We'll keep a close eye on how this story unfolds, and as always, we'll keep you updated with the latest F1 news and insights. That's it for today's video, and until things become clearer, we can only say that whatever path Perez chooses, it should be respected, because he has done enough to prove his worth as an F1 driver. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for more F1 content. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.